Good morning. As you know, every year we are celebrating from behalf of Department of Pediatrics, Rajarajesh Medical College. We are celebrating Breastfeeding Week, first week of August every yearly. This year it is unique. Why? Because we are in the era of COVID. So though our hospital is COVID hospital, we are successfully planned to celebrate the Breastfeeding Week. So as you know, this year's theme is support breastfeeding to keep the environment healthy, means healthier environment. For this successful, I am going to tell you 5 simple points how to maintain the breastfeeding successfully. What can be done to create condition that makes exclusive breastfeeding possible? The 5 points are: number 1, the health professional should avoid unnecessary interventions during labor and birth. An undisturbed birth is one of the essential prerequisites for breastfeeding to happen. Today, almost all women experience at least one unnecessary intervention. In some hospitals in the affluent world, like so many countries, we are facing all women, they want labor with painless labor. That is, they are going for options of epidural labors. In US and Canada, 40% they'll go into cesarean section. Nowadays, even in our country also it is 40 to 60%. Second point is the baby should be skin to skin with the mother, that is skin contact, immediately after birth, and the contact should not be interrupted until the baby has latched and finished breastfeeding. Babies are capable of crawling on their own to the breast and latching on without help. In many hospitals, skin to skin contact is symbolic only, the last only 5 to 10 minutes, if that. The photo shows mother's skin and skin with her baby immediately after a cesarean section. The third point is the health professional should check the baby's latch and provide practical help if the baby is not latched on well. If breastfeeding hurts, something is wrong and the latch needs to be adjusted. The pain or discomfort during the breastfeeding are signs that mother needs help. Mother should not be told painful nipples are normal and they should just wait it out, means you have to avoid giving pain to the mother. Further, and a baby is less likely to get milk adequately if not latched on well. The earlier mother gets good help, the better the successful breast. And the fourth point is mother need to be shown how to know the baby is actually getting milk from the breast. A baby is not receiving milk from the breast just because he has the breast in his mouth and makes suckling movements. Fifth point is the mother should be provided with follow-up within a day or two of the discharges from the hospital, not in a week or two, by someone knowledgeable and experienced with helping mothers breastfeed. So these are the exclusive 5 points should be remembered while telling to the mother. You can read more about how birthing practices may affect breastfeeding in e-book. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Rakshita, GR of Department of Pediatrics. As we have stepped into the month of August, the first week of August has been marked as the World Breastfeeding Week by WHO to encourage breastfeeding and good child health all around the world. Breastfeeding is one of the best possible start in a child's life. It ensures health, nutritional and emotional benefits to both the mother and the baby. If there is anything new, safe, cheap, orally administered, not requiring any cold chain facilities, would prevent the child death rate, that would be an immediate public health imperative, and breastfeeding does all of it and more. And hence, breastfeeding is one of the most essential part in a child's life. This year, WHO has themed World Breastfeeding Week 2020 as Support Breastfeeding for a Healthier Planet. UNICEF and WHO, along with the policies advocated, encourage the government to invest, train, partner, and protect. Invest in the skillful breastfeeding counseling to all the mothers, train all the midwives, healthcare professionals, and nurses regarding skillful breastfeeding counseling, and ensure that all the mothers are readily available to the breastfeeding counseling through all the routine nutrition and healthcare services, and partner and collaborate with the chiefs, civil societies and health association professionals to ensure breastfeeding and make it easily available.
Hello everyone. As we go through the World Breastfeeding Week that is observed in the first week of August, it would be the most opportune time for me to talk to you all about the importance of breastfeeding. For all new mothers, congratulations on the delivery of your babies. Today we will be talking about the importance of breastfeeding in both the child as well as the mother, with a little more focus on the mother. So firstly, you should all know about what exclusive breastfeeding means. Exclusive breastfeeding is nothing but feeding the child only the mother's breast milk for the first 6 months of life. This can be very, very challenging, especially for new mothers and working mothers. Breastfeeding is a natural process but doesn't come naturally to all. It requires a lot of effort. But I am here to tell you that these efforts will not go in vain, and that breastfeeding has so many benefits that it will all be worth it. So let's get into the benefits first in the child. Firstly, it provides the perfect balance of nutrition to the child that no formula feed can provide. It reduces the incidence of gastrointestinal and respiratory infections that can be very, very challenging to manage. It also helps in the optimum growth of the child and helps in the bonding of the mother and the child, which is very essential. There are several long-term benefits as well, such as the reduction in the incidence of diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, and several types of cancers in the child. It is estimated that over 100,000 infant deaths a year can be averted if all children are exclusively breastfed. Coming to the benefits of breastfeeding in the mother. We'll start off with the benefits in the immediate postpartum period. So immediately following delivery, breastfeeding increases the level of a hormone known as oxytocin. So this oxytocin helps the uterus come back to its pre-pregnant state and also reduces the postpartum bleeding. This can indirectly help in reducing the incidence of anemia in the mother. Apart from which, there are studies that go to state that those mothers who are exclusively breastfeeding their infants also regain their pre-pregnant weight much faster and are able to maintain their baseline BMI. The third benefit would be contraception. So, exclusive breastfeeding serves as a natural contraception, and as long as the mother is breastfeeding the child, she will also be able to use it as a method of contraception. This helps in spacing of conceptions. Coming to the medical and psychological benefits of breastfeeding. As I said, breastfeeding helps in the development of a bond between the mother and the child, and this happens through a very scientific process. It is because of the release of the hormone oxytocin and prolactin. This also helps in reducing postpartum depression. So this can be extremely beneficial to both the mother and the child in its formative years. Medical benefits are several. Breastfeeding reduces the incidence of hypertension, of diabetes, and in mothers who are already diabetic, it reduces the levels of blood sugar as well as it reduces the need for high doses of insulin. Complications of diabetes like metabolic syndrome and heart disorders are all reduced when the mother exclusively breastfeeds her child. There are several studies that state that breastfeeding reduces the risk of ovarian and breast cancer in the mother. Coming to the community benefits of breastfeeding, there are several community benefits including environmental benefits as well as financial benefits. Financial benefits are self-explanatory. Breastfeeding is completely free of cost. Formula feeds can be very, very expensive and may not be affordable by all. It is also more time consuming to use formula feeds. It has to be mixed in the right proportion. It has to be brought down to the right temperature. Breast milk is a perfect blend in the right mix and at the right temperature, which is available at all times. The environmental benefits include reduction in pollution because of the use of containers, plastic, as well as feeding bottles, etc. All in all, breastfeeding is a perfect combination of warmth, nutrition, and love all rolled into one. So I would implore all mothers to kindly, exclusively breastfeed your children. Thank you.
Good morning to all. I'm Dr. Sagitya, postgraduate student. It's a great pleasure for me on this occasion of World Breastfeeding Week to share the benefits of breastfeeding. Breast milk saves infants' life. It's been observed that the mortality is 14 times higher among the infants who are not breastfed. It is a whole food for infant and contains all the needed nutrients in a sufficient and a balanced proportion and quantity. It promotes the growth, development, mainly the neurodevelopment. Breast milk has anti-infective properties that protect the infants from infection in the early neonatal life as well as afterwards also. Breastfeeding is much cheaper than the bottle-fed milk constituents. It's easily digestible and well absorbed, containing all essential amino acids and fatty acids. It strengthens the immune system by transferring of the antibodies from the mother. The breastfed infants are less likely to develop colic, infantile allergies and eczema than those of the bottle-fed infants. Breast milk is always available and there's no utensils or water or fuel that's needed to prepare it. It contains enough amount of water for the baby's needs. It's been observed that it helps in the jaw and tooth development. Suckling develops the facial muscles. The infant benefits from the colostrum milk. It is the richest source of antibodies containing the IgA, which protects the infants during the initial time from infection. Breastfeeding is gentle. It's a gentle way for newborns to the transition to the world outside the womb of the mother. The breastfeeding provides a physiological as well as a psychological benefit for the mother and the child. It creates an emotional bond which reduces the mortality and it also reduces the rate of infant abandonment. The skin to skin contact through breastfeeding offers baby a greater emotional bonding as well as security and improves thermoregulation, blood glucose control, and it's been observed that it even decreases the mortality. The benefits of the breastfeeding is not just to the infant and the mother, but also for the family, society and community as well. It contributes to the child's survival, it saves money and it promotes family planning and environmental friendly. The breastfeeding is. And in community wise, healthy babies make a healthy nation. A decrease in the number of child illness leads to a decrease in the national expenses of treatment. It improves the child survival, reducing the child morbidity and mortality. It protects the environment. Breast milk is a natural renewable resource which is present. The benefits of breastfeeding and nurturing the mother-infant interaction to prevent the infection and it promotes the health and development are very especially important when health and other community services are themselves disrupted or limited. I would like to conclude by telling that breastfeeding should be encouraged and supported for all the women. Though the benefits of the breastfeedings are really clear, but there are still challenges to find the ways to support the mothers to make a choice to breastfeed. Thank you.
2, 1, start.
I'm Dr. Neetu Reddy, Junior Resident from Rajarajeshwari Medical College and Hospital, and I'll be talking about different positions of breastfeeding. There are many different breastfeeding positions that may work for each mother depending on the mother and the baby's comfort. An important consideration is that the mother should always feel comfortable. Coming to the positioning of the baby, make sure that the baby is wrapped properly. The baby's whole body is supported not just by the neck or the shoulders. The baby's head and the body are in one line without any twist in the neck. The baby's body should be turned towards the mother and the baby's nose is at the level of the nipple. The signs of good attachment are the baby's chin should be close to the breast, the baby's tongue should be under the lactiferous sinus and the nipple against the hard palate. The mouth should be wide open with the lower lip turned outwards, and the more areola should be visible above the baby's mouth. Coming to the different breastfeeding positions, there are various number of different breastfeeding positions. The most commonly used breastfeeding positions are the cradle hold position, the double cradle hold position, the cross cradle hold position, the football hold position, the double football hold position, the sideline position, the laid back position, and the saddle hold position. Coming to the cradle hold position, this is the most commonly used position that is used by the mothers. This is the first hold many mothers try soon after birth. The infant's head is supported below the elbow and the back and the buttock is supported by the arm and lifted to the breast. And the breast can be supported by the other hand of the mother. The advantages of this hold is that it is an easy and comfortable hold for both the baby and the mother, and it can help the baby, and this hold can help if the baby has difficulty in latching. Coming to the double cradle hold position, this hold is more commonly used for twins. Both the babies are cradled in the arms and allowed to latch on with their bodies overlapping. Both the babies are placed on a double breastfeeding pillow over the lap of the mother. Each baby lies in the crook of each elbow, crisscrossing each other. The first baby will be lying with majority of its body touching the chest of the mother, but the second baby will have its body touching the other baby. So this position provides an opportunity for the twins to interact with each other during the feeding session. Coming to the football hold position, it is also called as the clutch position. The infant is placed under the forearm like holding a football. The baby is positioned with the body and the feet tucked under the mother's arm. The baby's head is held by the mother's hand and the baby's back is supported by the mother's forearm. The breast should be supported in a C-shaped hold with the other hand of the mother. A pillow can be used for supporting and to bring the baby to the correct height. The advantages of this hold is that it is advantageous for mothers who have undergone a cesarean section, and it is helpful when a mother has a forceful milk ejection reflex, as the baby can handle the flow easily. Coming to the double clutch or the double football hold, used when two babies have to be breastfed at once in case of twins. Most commonly used position for twins, and each baby is facing the mother while they are latched on. Their bodies are tucked under the arms with the hands supporting their heads. So coming to the sideline position, the mother lies in a semi-reclined position, propping up her head and supporting her shoulders with a pillow. The infant is lying down facing the mother with one hand of the mother supporting the baby and the other hand of the mother supporting the breast. So the advantages of this hold is that it is good and comfortable position for both the mother and the baby, and it is a good position after the cesarean section and allows the new mother for some rest. Coming to the laid back position, the mother lies in a semi-reclined position in a chair or a bed with adequate support for her back, neck and head. A pillow can be used for support. The baby is placed on the mother's stomach with the baby's head at the level of the breast, and the baby is allowed to latch. The baby's body is supported with the mother's hand. So the advantages of this is that it allows skin to skin contact. The baby's movements are not restricted, and it is comfortable and provides rest to the mother who has undergone a cesarean section. Coming to the cross cradle hold position, the mother holds the baby crosswise in the crook of the arm, opposite to the breast that the infant should feed. The baby's trunk and the head are supported with the forearm and the palm. The other hand of the mother is placed in a U-shaped position to guide the baby's mouth to the breast. The advantages of this is that it is an ideal hold to initiate early breastfeeding, and it is a good hold for babies with difficulty in latching, as it provides better support for the baby to latch. Coming to the next position, that is the Australian hold position. It is also called a saddle hold position. The baby is held vertically and straddles the mother's thigh facing the mother. The knee of the mother supports the baby's bottom. One hand of the mother supports the baby's head while the other hand supports the breast. So the advantage of this hold is that it can be used in older infants. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ravali, Junior Resident of Pediatrics. I welcome you all to the World's Breastfeeding Week of 2020, which is being celebrated in the first week of August. As we all know, breast milk is an important and essential nutrient for the baby. There are several misconceptions in the society regarding breastfeeding. So here am I to discuss the few myths regarding breastfeedings. The myth is that every mother and child adapts to breastfeeding instinctively. This is not true. Every baby has a reflex to look for the mother's breast. However, every mother requires a constant support in positioning the baby and ensuring proper attachment of the baby to the breast. So it requires proper time and practice for the both baby and the mother. There's a myth that breastfeeding is painful and sore nipples are inevitable. The fact is that a newly delivered mother will develop discomfort initially while breastfeeding. The constant support in ensuring the proper position of the baby and proper latching of the baby, the sore nipples can be avoided. The next myth is that separating the newborn from the mother after breastfeeding to ensure mother rests. This is a myth. The fact is that bringing the newborn in direct skin contact with the mother, that is skin to skin contact, ensures the baby to find and attach to the breast. If this is practiced immediately within 1 hour after birth, this establishes the breastfeeding. The next myth is that we've often been heard that breastfeeding mother should consume a plain food. This is a myth. The truth is that every breastfeeding mother should consume a complete balanced diet because the nutrients which the mother consumes is what the baby receives. So hence all the mothers should consume a proper complete balanced diet. Coming to the next myth, many of the breastfeeding mothers think that their milk is not sufficient to the baby or they're not having sufficient milk production. The fact is that almost all the mothers produce the right amount of milk required for their babies. The breast milk production is determined by how well the baby is latching to the breast and the frequency of breastfeeding. Misconception of inadequate breast milk. Infants are given sugar water and honey as a substitute of breast milk, which is why infants are more prone in acquiring infections. The myth is that many of the mothers avoid breastfeeding when they are sick. This is a myth. The truth is that the mother should continue breastfeeding depending upon the illness even if they are sick by taking a proper treatment, having a proper diet with proper rest and nutrition. Now coming to the myths regarding breastfeeding during COVID times. Most of the people have queries regarding whether or you should breastfeed your baby if you are COVID-19 positive. The answer is absolutely yes. As per WHO, even the mother suffering from COVID-19 should ensure proper breastfeeding to the baby with proper skin-to-skin contact. You need to follow these steps while breastfeeding your baby. Always use a medical mask when you're near the child. Make sure you wash your hands with soap and water or a sanitizer before and after breastfeeding the baby. And make sure you routinely or frequently disinfect your surface which you touch. If the mother is suffering from COVID-19 and she's extremely sick and unwell to breastfeed the baby, she must be supported to express the breast milk and can be fed the baby or can by using a human donor milk. I hope all the myths regarding breastfeeding is cleared and I hope all the mothers to exclusively breastfeed their babies. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Varun, Junior Resident, Department of Pediatrics. I wish everyone a happy World's Breastfeeding Week. I'll be talking about the breastfeeding adequacy, that is, when to say a child is adequately breastfed. So many mothers will be having a doubt whether the baby is getting enough amount of milk. So the first and foremost thing is, the mother has to feed the baby every 2 hours for a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes, approximately 12 times a day. The next thing is, check the hydration of the baby. So for this, check whether the baby is passing urine at least 5 to 6 times a day. So keep checking the diaper frequently. The next thing is, see whether the baby is passing stools at least 1 to 2 times a day. The next one is weight gain. So adequate weight gain itself indicates adequate breastfeeding. So initially the weight gain will be around 200 grams per week for the first 2 to 3 months, followed by around 100 to 150 grams per week for the next 3 months. Also check for adequate lactation, that is, see for drip milk, that is, when the mother is feeding the baby from one breast, there will be dripping of milk from the other breast called as drip milk. The next thing is, when she skips a feed or 2 feeds, she might feel a tightness or heaviness in the breast. So this indicates adequate lactation. Also, she has to follow exclusive breastfeeding. That is, she has to feed the baby only with the breast milk for the first 6 months.
Hello everyone, myself Dr. Lavanya, Junior Resident in the Department of Pediatrics. As we are going through the breastfeeding celebration week, I would like to enlighten few points on the promotion of breastfeeding. First is the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, which is a joint initiative organized by UNICEF in 1992, and it was adopted in India in 1993 for the promotion, protection and support of the breastfeeding mothers. This has 10 steps for establishment of the successful breastfeeding. And secondly, the relactation, where the breastfeeding is re-established in cases where cessation of breastfeeding or reduced inadequate breastfeeding, lactation is there. For relactation, there should be adequate motivation for the mother and the family members with skin-to-skin contact of the baby and the mother. And it is done by two methods. One is drip drop method and breast feeding supplementer technique. By this we can achieve breastfeeding even for the adopted by the mothers of adopted babies and babies born through surrogate mothers. Coming to human milk banking, it's a service for collection, storage, processing and storage of the donor milk, which is very much required for nowadays. This donor milk is required it is indicated in cases of inadequate lactation, abandoned or orphaned neonates, who are referred to NICU without the mother, and in cases of postmortem death of the mothers, and in cases where the biological mother cannot feed the baby in view of few health risks. So I'm proud to tell that we are in the Department of Pediatrics of Rajarajeshwari Medical College. We have our own human milk banking done. So thank you one and all.
Good morning one and all. This is me, Dr. Almaz Fatima. I'll be saying few points about breastfeeding during this course. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, World Health Organization and Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine also support giving mothers breast milk to their babies even if they are infected with COVID-19. Do studies show that the virus is detected in breast milk from mothers infected with COVID-19? Existing reports have not detected the virus causing COVID-19 in breast milk. Similarly, other respiratory viruses have not been transmitted in breast milk. For example, the severe acute respiratory syndrome virus, that is a similar virus, has not been detected in breast milk. Should a mother continue to breastfeed if she starts to feel symptoms related to COVID-19? So the answer to this is the ABM suggests if a mother who is confirmed to have COVID-19 or has symptoms and is under investigation, she should isolate from others, including from her infant, to reduce the risk of transmission. The ABM recommends a breastfeeding mother can either provide an ongoing supply of breast milk by expressing milk using a breast pump, or allow mother or baby contact for breastfeeding sessions with precautions. What are the actions for breastfeeding mothers? So practice the respiratory hygiene, including during feeding. If you have respiratory symptoms such as being like shortness of breath, use a medical mask when you are near your child. Wash your hands thoroughly with soap or sanitizer before and after contact with your child. Routinely clean and disinfect any surface you touch. If you are severely ill with COVID-19 or suffer from other complications that prevent you from caring for your infant or continuing direct breastfeeding, express milk to safely provide breast milk to your infant. If you are too unwell to breastfeed or express breast milk, you should explore possibility of relactation, wet nursing, or caring or using donor human milk. Which approach to use will depend on cultural context, acceptability to you, and service availability. What are the actions for health facilities and their staff? So if you are providing maternity and newborn services, you should not promote breast milk substitutes, feeding bottles, teats, pacifiers or dummies in any part of your facilities or by any of your staff. Enable mother and infants to remain together and practice skin-to-skin contact, rooming in throughout the day and night, especially straight after birth during establishment of breastfeeding, whether or not the mother or child has suspected, probable or confirmed COVID-19. What is most important is counseling and psychosocial support. If you enable mother and infants to remain together and practice skin-to-skin contact and rooming in throughout the day and night, especially straight after birth during establishment of breastfeeding, whether or not mother or child has suspected, probable or confirmed COVID-19. What is most important? So the most important thing is counseling and psychosocial support. If you and your infant or children have been suspected or confirmed COVID-19, seek breastfeeding counseling, basic psychosocial support or practical feeding support. You may get support from appropriately trained healthcare profession and also community-based lay and peer breastfeeding counselors. So it is not the disease which kills, it's fear which kills. Thank you.